Hey everyone. So I thought I'd do a little recap because I forgot to do one yesterday. So yesterday we was our first day here on the ship on the Utopia of the Seas. That is by not Norwegian, the Caribbean one.
Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean cruise lines. There's like 9 cruise lines, and half the names are similar. The logos look the same. Anyway, so we did that. We were on the ship. We departed. Turns out I don't get seasick. Didn't even feel the ship move at all. The thing is huge though too. Then we had dinner at what they call the solarium. We did that. We had some more drinks. We had drinks in the morning at a tiki bar. We had drinks at, well, not really morning, but I guess it was 11 o'clock at the tiki bar. At the they have a nautical themed bar. We had drinks there. We had drinks at a place called the Solarium. That was a giant oil can of Foster's I drank. Haven't had that since like high school. And then we met some of our friends at the sports bar they have. And yeah, that was the night. Had some more drinks with them, celebrated one of our friends' birthdays. And then this morning we all woke up and the ship was pulling into port at Nassau in the Bahamas. And we had like a 2.5 hour little driving tour of the Bahamas that we did. We got out in a couple spots, had a great tour guide, learned a lot about Nassau and the Bahamas. Had tried some conch fritters. Conch is from the conch shell. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm sure it's a mollusk of some kind. They were delicious. It's a cool little place. There's a lot of like there's the marketplace that's like right on the port, and then there's like they call it the straw market, and there's a couple other market areas. Probably would need to be a little careful because even though it's relatively safe for tourists, I mean, I'm sure shady stuff happens, and there is a wide mix of like high end and low end stuff because it's a weird area. Like there's poverty, but then the people that are, like our tour guide said he lives in the ghetto, seemed completely happy the whole time. Like we talked to him a little bit, nice guy. So I don't know, I guess one thing I did realize is when you are on the islands, it is very relaxing that you could probably get to a beach in 5-10 minutes and just look out over the ocean. But I'd like to come here again and spend more time, more than just a couple hours, try some of the local food and stuff and see some of the other sites that we just kind of got driven past. That's it for now. We have dinner tonight at an Italian restaurant on the ship, and then I don't know what we're gonna do from that. And tomorrow we have another excursion out onto the private island that Royal Caribbean has called Coco Cay. So we're gonna do that for a few hours, and then I don't know what we're doing after that either. And then we have a wedding on Friday. So
Thursday.
we have a wedding on Thursday. So that's why they put the names of the dates on all the elevators when you walk in, or the names of the day on the elevators, because you kind of lose track of it, you know. So all right, well, thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.